How's it going, YouTube? Jamie the Kid 00 here, coming at you guys with another tournament report with, well, for the first time actually, with Evilswarm. I decided, if you probably saw the deck profile last night, I decided I was going to play Evilswarm for locals this weekend because I don't have that much time to test these outside of locals because of exams and assignments, etc. So I figured I'd build this deck really quickly, kind of based on what I thought was good from about 6 months ago in the OCG meta, because I haven't really researched the deck since then. I literally built it the way it was good back then, and figured I'd give it a try. The deck was quite effective. I ended up just going 2-2 today, dropping in the final round so that I could record the final match, the final round feature match, because I was confident that I wasn't going to make the top cut with an X2 record. So I just dropped straight there. I'm confident I would have won my last game because this was a very effective deck, but I just really wanted to put my time towards getting a recording rather than actually playing another game with this deck when I can play test another time, I guess. Either way, I did make quite a few changes since yesterday night's deck profile. There were quite a few bad choices in that video, and I'd made it at I think 11 o'clock just after I got back in from the cinema, so I hadn't had much time to build it. So I made a few changes while I was contemplating it this morning, and this is what I rolled with. It's still not perfect. It's still 42 cards, and it could still use some work, but it worked out pretty consistently for me today, but there are some changes I guess I would make. So to start off with, I played the 2 copies of Rescue Rabbit. The Rescue Rabbit I actually drew so often today. It was really, really good. If you opened it, you basically won, and that's kind of like the 2 games that I won. I'll explain like what happened in some of my matches in a minute. But the 2 Rabbit, the 2 Guide was really, really effective. Because I was playing the Rabbit engine with 2 different targets, the Guide Levier play became really live again. And just the muscle the Guide provides, and if the Rabbit gets Veilered, you can banish it anyway and then guide it back, well, Guide Levier it back. So it's really good for those plays. And then just the muscle it provides, if one of your monsters has been bottomless, you can revive it. It can do all sorts of things. I just really like the tour guide today. Then I played 3 copies of Sabersaurus because this was the Evilswarm Laggia deck. I first turned Rabbit Laggia twice. Most of the other times against things like Dark World I made Ophion, and against Mermail I made Ophion, but I turned one Laggia twice and made Dolka once with these, so they were really, really effective. Then I played 3 copies of Heliotrope, 1950 beta. This card was huge. This was so good over the day. Like, getting this out really early, my opponent kind of had to go off just to deal with a normal monster, so the Heliotrope was incredibly effective. But a lot of the time I found myself holding it and just ditching it for Evilswarm Bahamut's effect. So it was just a good card all round. I really liked Heliotrope. I played 3 Castor. These clog really badly. Like, I wouldn't cut them down because they were really good, but I kept on drawing 2 or drawing none. If I had 2, I'd have to summon 1 and summon the other because I wouldn't have any other target. I'd just have the 2 Castor, which was kind of upsetting. But at the same time, it was kind of good, but it just kind of limited my resources quite heavily. 3 copies of Mandragora. These clogged as well. These came together really quite a bit, so I often find myself specialing one and normal summoning the other, so Mandragora could have been a bit less cloggy, but hey, such is such. It was really good, it was really worth playing, and when your opponent goes off and leaves a field of loads of monsters, so you can just go like Mandragora, Castor, and then use Castor Summon, and you can make two Exceeders that turn, just because your opponent went off, so Mandragora is really, really good. Then the 3 copies of Evilswarm Thunderbird. I feel that one of my games, one of the losses I made in one of my games was contributed to the fact that I didn't banish this card in a mistake. An opponent attacked it with Lind. I went deep prison and I didn't banish this card to bring it back at 1950 beta. And it ended up getting attacked over by an Armory Arm, so a Marksman could swing directly. But I feel that you could have just attached the Armory Arm to the Marksman anyway, and I would have lost regardless. So I don't know, I felt I could have dealt a bit more damage and it would have been a bit more of a threat, but otherwise Thunderbird was really good throughout the day. The 1950 attack thing is just so good. The fact that it's really hard to Dark Hole, Prison, things like that. It is Wind-Up Rabbit, but really muscular, and I really liked it, so Thunderbird was good, and that is the entire monster lineup. It's really standard, no Gauze, no Trag, but I might consider Gauze later on. But there are a few cloggy traps in here that I feel that the Gauze wouldn't really be very compatible with. For the spells, I played, of course, the Ever-Living Trinity that you all know I play, of the Reborn Dark Hole Storm. You should really be playing it. Dark Hole has been falling in popularity in the OCG apparently, and some people have been saying, oh, you should cut it now because it's not good in the OCG. I think that's complete bollocks. Play Dark Hole. It's such a good card when you're not going off, when your opponent has a bigger field than you. Just play the Dark Hole. I don't know why people are cutting it. They played the one Avarice because we played the Rabbit engine, so you got to play the Avarice because the MRAL isn't always going to happen. In fact, across the course of today, I only made one MRAL, so Avarice was much better. They played the one Reinforcement in the army because Castor is Castor, so you want to search Castor. I talked about how in the video I was going to cut Salamandra for this, and I did cut the Salamandra because in the end the Salamandra just wasn't working out. So that was the one-offs. For the rest of them, I played 2 MST in the main because of the fact that I had access to Dress and Pandemic. I didn't feel the need for 3, but there were a few things that caught me off guard, so I might try and find room for the 3rd, but at the same time, it wasn't really that necessary. So 2 MST. The 2 Forbidden Dress. Forbidden Dress was good. Forbidden Dress was really quite good. It saved me a lot of the time from Graphers. It saved me from a heavy infantry pop one time. It was really, really effective, and a lot of the time I found myself using it as a battle trap, as a battle card to get over stuff with Ophion when my opponent had a bigger monster. Like, my opponent would have a Grapher before I summoned an Ophion, and then I'd just be able to Ophion over it and dress it, so it was good. Dress was really good. And then for the final spell, I played 3 copies of Infestation Pandemic, which was so good throughout the day. Infestation Pandemic is, in my opinion, one of the best spell cards at the moment. It's the best spell card in this deck, simply because it's a lance for your entire field. Like, they can Torrential, lose their entire field because you lance your own field. If they haven't seen you search this, they can lose everything, and you can go Mega Plus, so it's so very good. I did it multiple times today. My opponent would Torrential, and I'd have the Pandemic, so it was so good. I mean, I know I'm talking about stuff being really good with a 2-2 record, but I feel that some of my losses were a bit unfair. But I mean, such as the way the deck plays. But I really do have faith in it. Like, I didn't have much faith in this deck when I first built it, when I first saw it. But it is really quite powerful. I really quite enjoy playing it. It plays a lot like Dino Rabbit, and you guys know I love Dino Rabbit. So for the traps, I played 1 Eradicator in the main. This was kind of the source of some controversy. A lot of people asked me why I wasn't playing Deck Dev today, and I feel that Eradicator is much more generic than Deck Dev because Eradicator hits spells and traps. Who doesn't play spells and traps? Whereas Deck Dev only hits 1500s, well, 1500s or lower, and I feel that Deck Dev is kind of falling out of favour because the meta is falling out of favour with small attack monsters because of Deck Dev being in the meta. So I feel that Eradicator was the better choice. I ended up getting it off twice. The only problem was I set it against an Evilswarm player when I had to play next turn to make Ophion because my opponent had Veiled. I made the mistake of setting this early, and my opponent had the Storm. So against the Prophecy player, my opponent had the Storm, so it should have won me the game, but it didn't. He managed to grind out and win, so I should have held this. But it was good otherwise. I got it off twice, I believe. I didn't draw it that often, but Eradicate was good. Then for the Pro Tech of the day, Xyz Reborn. I got this card off 3 times, each time reviving an Ophion and making a play. I wish I could have revived like a Diosto Emerald Avarice, but sadly I didn't, and I didn't. I was going to try and revive a Dolka at one point, and I couldn't because it got end phase spaced. But the Xyz Reborn was really good for bringing back the Ophion. There were a number of times where my opponent would summon, say, a Brow when they were playing Dark Worlds, because I play against Dark Worlds. And I would just go Xyz Reborn and revive the Ophion. Okay, now your Brow is dead on the field. So it's really, really powerful. So Xyz Reborn was... I'd definitely play this. I'd keep playing this. Maybe 2 is too much, but 1 is definitely a good call. 1 Mirror Force. I don't feel the need for 2. 2 D-Prison, because D-Prison is D-Prison. It's removal. It's good. I didn't see these nearly enough today. I didn't see that many traps, to be fair. A lot of my losses were contributed to the fact that while I could go Ophion Infestation, I really didn't have that much access to actual traps, so I might have to up the trap line up a bit. But the 2 Prison, the 2 Bottomless, because Bottomless was really good. Well, Bottomless is really good. I ended up cutting the compulsors for Torrentials, because I just thought that the Torrential was going to be so good that you have to terminate a board if you have to. So the Torrentials were definitely worth playing. They were really good today, so, and especially Torrential Pandemic, such a good play. Then 1 Morning, 1 Judgment. I didn't think the Starlight Robe was that necessary, and this being 42 cards already, I thought that it might just be a bit of overkill, take up too much space. So for the extra deck, I ended up playing the 2 Ophion. I found myself in some situations where I wished I played the 3rd, so I might bump up to 3. I really don't know yet. But Ophion was just really good. You all know what it does by now. Stopping the level 5 plays, it's just so good. I made Bahamut once today. I ended up my opponent went Gates, make Grapher, end with no back row, and I ended up opening I believe it was something to the line of like Castor double Helio, and I just summoned Castor, summoned Helio, made this, ditched the Helio, stole his Grapha and swung for 5350 turn 1, and then he just couldn't recover from that, and I pushed through for game on the next turn with the Bahamut pushing over his monster. He just didn't have the back row. He'd open a monster hand other than the Grapha ditch, so after that he just couldn't get around it. Then I played one Ouroboros. Ouroboros, I won one tournament game with it and one non-tournament game. I won in testing just before the event with this. And then in the tournament, I was playing in a grind game against Mermails. He has a board of Messenger, Defense Mode Gachi with no materials, Defense Mode Zen Mains, which is on 1 material, and Attack Mode Trite, because he just attacked with it. And we've been playing a proper grind. And I managed to assemble a hand of Mandragora. I think it was Mandragora, Castor. And it was 2 Mandragoras and a Castor. He had the much bigger hand than me, so I just dropped all 3 cards and thought, right, I have to push over you because you're on 600 life. I ended up just making Ouroboros bouncing his Messenger and swinging for game, and this was so good for that one moment. And in testing, it was really good. Then for the dinosaurs, I played 1 Dolka, 1 Laggia. As I said, I made the Laggia twice and the Dolka once. They were pretty good. I might consider cutting the Sabosauruses, but for now, I think they're going to stay in until I get Cercion. Or until I find a viable replacement. Then I played 1 Emerald. I made this once. It just Avarice and then died. So that was Emerald. Direwolf, never made it. Gemknight Pearl, never made it because I never played the mirror match. There were 4 Evilswarm players there, including myself. And I never played the mirror, sadly. So, such was life. Maestroke, Abyss Dweller, Papal Imperative. I made the Abyss Dweller once. I didn't make Papal Imperative, so... Such things. I played the 1 Levia, the 1 Leviathan Dragon, and the 1 Zen Mains. I made all my rank 3s.
That's so cute.
I'll ask you in a minute, Cupcakey.
Sometimes spiders wear water droplets as hats, and they look adorable.
She's watching adorable things. She's looking at adorable things on Facebook. Anyway, for the side deck, 2 copies of Maxi, because Maxi was really good. I never actually drew this. That was the sad thing. Like, Maxi is really good, but I never drew it. So maybe main it, maybe, because it stops the opponent going off. Hopefully. 2 Snowman Eaters. I saw these quite a bit, which was happy times because I haven't played these since I got Supers, so I'm glad to actually be able to play them. And they were pretty good. 2 copies of System Down because I heard that people were going to be playing gadgets today, and I was fearing the gadget matchups simply because of Tin Plate. So 2 System Downs were, in my opinion, the better card. But I never played any gadgets. There were gadget players there, but I never played against any, so System Down was dead. Wiseman's Chalice. I played one Wiseman's Chalice to be a troll in the mirror match, simply because it meant I could summon one of my Evilswarm monsters, revive one of my opponent's Evilswarm monsters in the graveyard, which they would often have if they'd made an Ophion and detached one to search their spell. Revive one of their Evilswarms and then make one of my own Evilswarms, maybe a Bahamut, and then steal my opponent's Ophion. So it was a temptation, but I never played against the Evilswarm mirror, so that was dead. The extra MST, this went in, and I saw it a couple of times. But it might have been better or something else. No, it wouldn't have been better or something else, sorry. The 3rd MST is compulsory. Then the 3 copies of Defissure for the remove from play matchups. I didn't see this that often against Mermail. I think I saw 1 per game, and both games got spaced, so that was Fissure gone. The Double Dust Tornado, just deal with more and more back row, deal with Tower, deal with Sphere. These went in against the Prophecy player. And I drew hardly any game 2. I managed to grind out that game. And then game 3 I just drew too many in time and my opponent just had T-Raws and I just lost. And then I played 2 deck devs. I started these in against the Mermail player and for the most part they were good, but game 3 they just didn't come to me, so such was my matchups. Game 1, to talk about how my pairings went, round 1 I ended up going against Prophecy Reaper Turbo. And he just had, I don't know how to really explain it. Game 1, he just had the Starhole play turn 1. Slowly but surely, the Starhole picked up steam, so eventually his monsters were all bigger than my Ophions. I didn't find the MST at all during the game. I didn't find MST at all during game 1. And it came to a point where he was just summoning monsters powering over my Ophion. And there was nothing I could do to really bring the game back. So I ended up steadily losing that game. Game 2 went a similar direction, and we just ended up grinding, and we eventually went into time, and I managed to win that game on time. And then game 3, I attempted to make a push turn 1 with Ophion. Well, I made Ophion turn 1. attacked. He had the T-Roar, and then his next turn he sets a monster to his... He has a Fool, and then sets another monster and sets a back row. I go Ophion. I make another... I think I make another Ophion, or I make a Mace Stroke for security. And I attack, and he has another Threatening Roar, and then his next turn he flips Penguin Soldier. He'd been told to tech Penguin Soldier, and a lot of people have been taking Penguin Soldier in their sides recently to deal with the Ophion. He flips the Penguin Soldier, bounces my entire field, swings for damage, I draw a Dust Tornado and lose. So that was awfully fun. Then round 2 I think I ended up playing against Dark World. Round 2 I played against Psychics, and Ophion did what Ophion did best and just killed Psychics. And it was Grandsoil Psychics, so I was able to dodge around all their creature swaps and things like that with Pandemic Virus. And deck dev put in a lot of work against that deck because there's a lot of small things. I ended up 2-1-ing that matchup. Round 3 I ended up playing against Dark Worlds, and I managed to Ophion that matchup basically. Ophion just 1-1-1. And then round 4 I ended up playing against Mermails against a very respectable opponent, Mr. Jamie Wolf. He's a pretty good Mermail player in my opinion, and he just ended up managing to win out. He won game 1 quite steadily. I think I made a misplay and threw it away, but I lost game 1 ultimately. Game 2 I managed to grind the game out and win with Ouroboros, and then game 3 he won. He managed to get over my Ophion. And he never once had the Megalo as well against me. Like every time I made the Ophion, he never had the level 7 to drop anyway, so that was interesting enough. But either way, yeah, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. Sorry for gibbering away with nothing on the screen. Sorry this became a radio show for a minute. This has been Jamie the Kid 00, and I hope you've enjoyed. Any recommendations or questions, feel free to let me know about them. And yeah, I think that's about everything. I'll see you guys soon with some more Yu-Gi-Oh related content and some more Constella stuff, because I've got some Constella videos in as well. So yeah, look forward to everything. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.